Simplify p to the power 5 multiplied by p to the power 4. We know that when we are multiplying and the bases are the same, you add the powers together. So 5 plus 4 is 9. So the answer is p to the power 9. When we divide, we subtract the powers. So 5 take away 2 is 3. So we get q to the power 3. Here, I just need to be a little bit careful because we've got a few different terms here. So let's just focus on the numbers first. 12 divided by 6 is 2. T divided by t, well, they will just cancel out completely because t divided by t would just be 1. And then we've got u to the power 6 divided by u to the power 5. So 6 take away 5 is 1. So we get u to the power 1 or just u. So our answer will be 2u. Here we want to square root. When you have a power of 1/2, that means to square root. The square root of 9 is 3. The square root of w squared would just be w. The square root of y to the power 6 would be y to the power 3. And so that's your answer. Another way of thinking of this is you could think, okay, well, it's going to be something times something, and these have got to be the same. So something times something is 9, it's 3. Something times something is w squared, it's going to be w. Something times something is y to the power 6, so it's going to be y to the power 3. That's another way you could get that answer. And then part E, for x is greater than 1, write the following in order of size, starting with the smallest. Well, it can be quite awkward to think of these in terms of algebra. What you might want to do to make your life a little bit easier is actually just pick a number. Pick a number greater than 1 and stick with it. So if I was picking a number greater than 1 here, considering that I know I'm going to need to square root it, I'm going to pick a square number. So I'm going to pick x as 4. So when x equals 4, I'd get 4 to the power 0, which would just be 1, because anything to the power 0 is going to be 1. 4 squared is 16. X is just 4. 4 to the power minus 2. So that's like saying 1 over 4 squared, which is just 1 over 16. And then I've got 4 to the power of a half, so the square root of 4 is 2. And now I can see easily that 1 over 16 is the smallest. So x to the power minus 2 is the smallest out of all of these. Then 1, so x to the power 0 is the next smallest. Then 2, so then the x to the power of a half. Then we've got the 4, so then it's x. And then finally x squared would be the biggest. So you can do that with 4, you can check that with some other numbers if you'd like. Check it with x equals 5 or 6 or 7 or 9 or whichever values you'd want. You'll get the same answer every time here. The minus 2 is always going to be smallest because the minus means you divide by x squared. So you're dividing by a big number. X to the power 0 is always going to be 1, so that's the next smallest. Square root, well, that's going to reduce the size of x, that'd be the next smallest. Then you have x itself, because that's not going to change the size of the value. And then x squared will be the biggest, for obvious reasons.